I've spent nearly 30 years inside warehouses, distribution centers, and WMS implementations. During that time, I've sat in hundreds of project meetings. I've reviewed countless dashboards. I've listened to status updates. I've watched executive steering committees. And over those years, I've learned one lesson that has never failed me. Whenever the conference room and the warehouse disagree, believe the warehouse. I remember sitting in a readiness meeting before a major go live. The dashboards were green, the testing reports were green, training was complete. The consultants were confident, the executives were optimistic, the date was locked, everything looked ready. If you had walked into that room, you would have believed the project was in great shape. Then I walked into the warehouse. Within 10 minutes, I knew something was wrong. Not because I found a software defect, not because I found a technical issue. I found uncertainty. I found supervisors who weren't confident. I found employees asking questions they should already know the answers to. I found people quietly creating workarounds before the system was even live. The conference room said one thing, the warehouse said another, and eventually the warehouse was proven right. That wasn't the first time, and it wasn't the last. I've seen that same story repeat itself throughout my career. Different companies, different industries, different software, different leadership teams, same lesson. The warehouse never lies. You can hide problems in PowerPoint. You can hide problems in spreadsheets. You can hide problems in executive meetings. But eventually every lie has to pass through the warehouse. And that's where the truth comes out. Because the warehouse never lies. When I say the warehouse never lies, I'm not really talking about a building. I'm talking about reality. The warehouse is where strategy meets execution. It's where plans become actions. It's where assumptions get tested. It's where promises either become results or become excuses. In the conference room, opinions matter. In the warehouse, results matter. Orders either ship or they don't. Inventory is either accurate or it isn't. Processes either work or they don't. Customers either receive what they ordered or they don't. The warehouse doesn't care about intentions. The warehouse doesn't care about presentations. The warehouse only cares whether the operation works. That's what makes it such a powerful truth detector. One of the biggest mistakes organizations make is confusing reporting with reality. A dashboard says inventory accuracy is 99%. The warehouse says otherwise. The report says training is complete. The warehouse says otherwise. Testing is marked complete. The warehouse says otherwise. The challenge is that reports tell you what people entered. The warehouse tells you what people actually do. And those are not always the same thing. I walked into operations where every KPI looked healthy, then spent 30 minutes on the floor and discovered employees surviving through workarounds. The metrics looked good. Reality looked different. The warehouse was telling the truth. Another lesson I've learned is that warehouses rarely expose software problems. Most of the time, they expose leadership problems. Poor communication becomes confusion on the floor. Weak accountability becomes missed shipments. Lack of ownership becomes finger pointing. Bad decisions become operational disruption. The warehouse doesn't create those problems. It reveals them. Think about that. If a process breaks during a go live, the warehouse didn't create the process. If inventory is inaccurate, the warehouse didn't create the inventory strategy. If employees are confused, the warehouse didn't create the training plan. The warehouse simply reveals what already existed beneath the surface. It's a mirror, and sometimes organizations don't like what they see in that mirror. This becomes especially obvious during WMS implementations. A WMS implementation forces discipline, inventory matters, transactions matter, training matters, process compliance matters. The shortcuts people have relied on for years suddenly become visible. The tribal knowledge becomes visible. The workarounds become visible. The gaps become visible. The software isn't creating those issues, it's exposing them. I've seen organizations blame the system for problems that existed long before the implementation started. The system didn't create inaccurate inventory. The system revealed inaccurate inventory. The system didn't create weak processes. The system revealed weak processes. The system didn't create poor training. The system revealed poor training. That's a very different conversation. The warehouse is also constantly sending warning signs. The question is whether leaders are listening. Watch for hero culture. Watch for excessive overtime. Watch for burnout. Watch for spreadsheets appearing everywhere. Watch for workarounds. Watch for employees carrying entire processes by themselves. And watch for silence. Silence is one of the biggest warning signs of all. When people stop raising concerns, many leaders assume everything is fine. Often the opposite is true. People may simply believe nobody is listening. Some of the biggest operational failures I've seen didn't happen because nobody knew there was a problem. They happened because people knew there was a problem and nobody wanted to hear it. The warehouse was speaking. Leadership wasn't listening. After over 30 years in this industry, I've become convinced that operational truth is one of the most valuable assets any organization can have. Not optimism, not dashboards, not presentations. Truth. Because truth allows you to solve problems. Truth allows you to make decisions. Truth allows you to improve. Without truth, you're simply managing perception. And perception eventually collides with reality. Reality always wins. That's why I come back to the same lesson. Whenever the conference room and the warehouse disagree, believe the warehouse. The warehouse will tell you the truth about your inventory. The warehouse will tell you the truth about your processes. The warehouse will tell you the truth about your training. The warehouse will tell you the truth about your leadership. The only question is whether you're willing to listen before the customer feels the impact. Because sooner or later, every project gets tested, every operation gets tested, every leadership team gets tested. And that test happens on the floor, where strategy meets reality, where promises meet performance, where the truth always shows up, because the warehouse never lies. If you've ever seen the warehouse expose a problem leadership didn't want to acknowledge, tell me about it in the comments. And if you want more real-world lessons on warehouse operations, WMS implementations, leadership, and supply chain execution, subscribe to The Art of Moving Boxes, the real-world warehouse WMS and supply chain lessons that actually show up on the floor. Thank you for watching. If you found this content useful, interesting, or engaging, please subscribe to the Art of Moving Boxes YouTube channel below. And make sure to join the Art of Moving Boxes LinkedIn group on LinkedIn. That is where we continue the conversation around real warehouse operations, WMS implementations, supply chain execution, and leadership lessons from the floor. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe below, join us on LinkedIn, and I'll see you in the next video.